Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have a special episode for you. It is a recording of one of the 10 dates in 30 days challenge, March 2023, that is currently going on in the Dating After Divorce Academy. So, what I have been doing is going live every single day to coach my clients on getting 10 dates in the month of March, and the results have been phenomenal. But I wanted to share this particular live video with you because it contained a lot of my best tips on troubleshooting your profile. And I really feel like many of you could do with understanding some of the things you need to be thinking about on your dating profile. So this was a live video, so I apologize if the audio isn't great. And I'm talking a little bit fast because when I'm talking to my clients, I talk fast normally, but then I really talk fast, like when we're troubleshooting and I'm thinking really hard. So, hope you enjoy this. Just kind of listen to it on like 0.75 speed if you need to. And then just gives you a peek behind the scenes of what my clients have been doing. Both some of my one-on-one clients as well as my group clients have been engaging in the 10 dates in 30 days challenge. And you can kind of see the things that we're talking about and how we're approaching the profile. Have a notepad and a piece of pen with you because you might want to write down some of the things that I list in there to look for in your dating profile so that you can get better results and you can get the kinds of people that you want swiping right on you. All right, enjoy the episode and I will see you next time. Hi, good morning. I'm just going to check, make sure I'm live in the right place. Let's see. Facebook says I am live. All right. I'll close that. Stay on the live screen. How's everybody doing? Welcome to day 6. You guys are doing amazing. I'm loving the numbers. For those of you who joined the coaching call last night, do not forget to update your numbers. Okay. Let's dive right in. Today, I just want to talk about your profile. So when you set up your profile, and I'm not going to look at the camera, I'm going to be looking at my notes here because I have some things I want to just cover. When you update your profile, it's not a one and done, okay? Like this is a process of like iterating. And what happens with your profile is you're testing, okay? So if you've done your irresistible me worksheet, that tells you like the best things about yourself. But not all of the best things about yourself are 100% relevant when you open up your profile. I think that's where the confusion comes in, is that it's almost like sometimes we don't know the best things to pick to put on the profile. And honestly, I can't give you a rule. Like it literally depends on who you are, what's important to you, and then the kind of guy you want. So really, you have to like take the principles that I teach around profiles and like just work them over and over and over again. And I'm going to give you several examples. But it's sort of like you have to understand the why behind that and then apply it to yourself. So really, this part of the process, and actually the entire dating process, it's not a passive process. It's not okay, I've been given 10 things to do and I've done them and it's not working. That's not how it works. It's really like we've got to bring our minds and our thinking and our creativity to it. And when we get stuck, like we have to engage with me, engage with the group and like say, hey, what do you guys think might attract this kind of guy, right? So sometimes I notice that we pull back where it's like, okay, this is what it is. Many of you are very quick to blame yourselves. You're very quick to go to, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. It's me. I'm not attractive. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me. Or every once in a while, it's these guys or it's this place that I live. Instead of, there's nothing wrong with me. There are good guys out there. There are good guys in my area. How can I troubleshoot my process so that I connect with those guys? And like, that is literally what I sell. I'm selling to you the understanding that it's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's somebody out there for everyone. There's somebody out there looking for someone just like you. So every time, stop going to the place where it's you. There's nothing wrong with you, I promise. But sometimes we have to say, okay, what is the missing link in my profile to get me what I want? And I've been doing that work like with my one-on-one clients. I try to do it with you guys in the group. So I encourage those of you who have not put up your profile for feedback, to screenshot it, put it in the Facebook group, or come on a coaching call and we can screen share and do a profile teardown. For those of you who have already done that, I encourage you to look at the results that you're getting and then go back to your profile and say, is that something I could change to attract a different kind of person? And the reason this is important is because when you do your profile the first time, you start attracting probably more guys and things are going well and you get some certain results. But if you haven't met your person, then you haven't gotten the results you want. Then you want to go back and troubleshoot. Okay, I met these kinds of guys. What can I do to my profile to get more of these kinds of guys to swipe right? Or, so I'll give you an example. One of my clients is from Nigeria and she's dated some Nigerian guys and she's just like, I've been in the US way too long and it's just not a match overall, just because culturally she's just moved so far away from the culture. But her name is clearly a Nigerian name. And so she's still, because of that, even though like her whole profile is like completely different culturally, her name still attracts lots of Nigerian guys, and conversely probably repels some guys who, if they got to know her better, would be attracted to her. But because of her name, they're just like, they make assumptions. You have to know that the same way I try to get you guys to not make assumptions, you have to know that the guys on the other end are making assumptions as well. And so we want to correct for that. And so she has a Christian name, which is Faith, I think. So I was like, why don't we use your middle name? Okay. Not because we're ashamed of your first name, but because it's not getting the results she wants in this process when she's not able to be there herself to really represent herself. She has to send this profile out to represent her to people who are in this ADHD attention deficit culture where there's 1,000 options and people are just swiping really quickly. And it's just what it is. It's just the human brain. And so we decided to do that, not so that she hides her culture, because her culture is still there. She says like, I'm from here, but at least in that moment where the person is like swiping very quickly, she can stop the scroll. And that's literally it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's literally marketing. When she meets the person, she's going to be like, yeah, I put my middle name on there. This is my first name. And if the guy says no at that point, well, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Nobody cares. Because then he was never the guy. Okay. So I'm just trying to give you, this is the why behind the changes you want to make to the profile. This is the why behind why you need to keep going. You need to keep examining the results you're getting and going back. So like, if you look at that client, she has swiped right on 53 people. She has sent a text message at this point more than 18 times. We're probably looking at like, I don't know, probably like almost 30 times at this point. And, but she hasn't moved. And there are other reasons. There are other things that I'm working on with her, but like, they just haven't been the guys that she wants. And so we decided, let's just make this little tweak to the profile. So those are the kinds of things I want you thinking about on your profile. So I'm just going to give you some tips to think about on your profile. There might be specific things on your profile to think about. One is you need to have specifics. You need to have specifics in your profile that really call out to your guy. So one client had in her profile, be compassionate and open-minded. The way to win me over is to be compassionate and open-minded, ready to have a good time. And I was like, that's really great, but most guys don't really use the word compassionate. Even if they are compassionate, it's not really how they see themselves. They might see themselves as open-minded, but that's also kind of vague. So you don't want vague things in there. So when we changed that prompt, she said, the way to win me over is to read to me from, and there was a specific book that she was like, yeah, and that book would reflect a person who was compassionate, open-minded, and kind of fun and kind of intellectual. So that specific book would, and then I think she was wanting a guy who was very curious, would pique the curiosity of a man who was curious. If he hadn't heard of the author, he would look up the author and probably be intrigued by the author, or he probably would already have heard of the author. So that specific line would call out to her kind of guy. And so you don't want things that are vague in there. You want specifics. You want the names of stores, the names of places, the names of books, the names of events. You want like things that are very specific, not because the guy would have gone there exactly, but because someone who was curious or who was into what you were into would go look that up. So like maybe say you were into CrossFit, which is like a specific kind of workout. If you want a guy who works out and you work out, don't just say, I work out a lot. Just say, you can find me at my CrossFit gym. right? So even if the guy isn't at CrossFit, he's probably heard of it and he's probably like, oh my gosh, he does CrossFit. That's great. Or he does CrossFit himself, which is like even better. Okay, can you see how being super specific really stops the scroll for that kind of guy? Then pictures. Pictures are super important. I always say for every photo you have in there, try to send a message about who you are and who you are looking for. Okay. Sometimes you're looking really cute in a photo, but the photo itself is not sending a message. So looking really cute in a photo is good, but you don't want that to just be the message in all 6 or 7 of your photos. You want a picture that also sends a message about who you are. So for this client, she had a photo of herself in a bookstore because she's a reader. So she put that in there. She had a photo of herself in Rome, traveling, right? And so we put that in there too, like things that message like, oh, the guy would connect to this. He would be interested in this. And then in prompts, do not have anything self-deprecating. What you think about yourself, it will come out. And so I always want to troubleshoot anything that's self-deprecating. So many clients will always have this self-deprecating, well, I don't know, I'm always lost, or I can't find my way around. Or another client had like photos of herself really dressed down, even though she's like, she has a multi-million-dollar business. And I was like, I know you dress down, but like the way you look in this photo doesn't call out to a guy who's going to match you economically. It just isn't. It doesn't mean that, of course, the guy you're going to want to match with is not going to be telling you, oh, don't dress in t-shirts and jeans. But when that picture is not going to stop the scroll for a guy who also has $1 million business, right? And so all you're trying to do at this point with your profile is stop the scroll. You're not trying to tell him everything about you. You're not trying to tell him, oh, this is what you get. Please do not put out your worst pictures if you feel like you're overweight or something for him to see what he gets. No, please do not do that. Putting out your worst pictures does not serve you. Like even a good guy, like you have to remember the good guy himself just has a human brain, right? It's the reason why restaurants make their meals look visually pleasing. They could make it look visually unpleasant and it would still taste the same, but who wants that? Like, why not enhance the experience? Okay, so please do not be self-deprecating. Don't start thinking, well, I want them to know what I get. That's a lot of like low self-concept. And if you have some of those thoughts going on, let's talk about it. Let's untangle it. Let's move that forward so you can get that transformation. You're not trying to attract a man with your body, or that's not going to attract a man who's only attracted to your body. It's just packaging you in the best light possible, right? But if you're trying to do the opposite, trying to package yourself in the worst light possible so that that's not attractive. Like you're not, it sounds logical, but it actually has the opposite effect. And it just messages that I don't love myself. You just message out to the world, I don't love myself, and I don't love myself enough to care for myself or to, to put in the effort. And it's all about how you love yourself. It's not about how that person is going to love you. Like this has nothing to do with what the other person thinks, right? You're not trying to anyway. So I won't keep going on and on about that. Please ask me questions if something about that isn't clear. Again, specific places, specific, like if you love cycling, is there a specific kind of cycling that you like? Are there specific places you like to go to cycle? Have you cycled abroad? Right? Mention those things. All right, let's see. Don't mention things that don't trigger interest. So there might be things about you that are important to you, but they don't give the guy any information. So when you're answering the prompts, one of my clients was like, oh, if this is wrong, I don't want to be right on her prompt. Her message on that was like, eating pizza without the cheese, which is true because she's dairy free, but like that doesn't, right? That unless she's looking for a guy who's dairy free, which she isn't, that whole prompt is completely useless because it doesn't say anything to the guy. It's cute, but it doesn't say anything, and it doesn't stop the scroll, and it doesn't send any messages. Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, so things that indicate wanting to be home, things like Netflix and chill, watching movies. This client had put in, she's like, oh, I know it's cliche, but let's bake cookies, which was very cute and wholesome. And she had gotten a lot of like messages around like, oh yeah, that's kind of cute. But then she also got a bunch of messages about guys who wanted to come over and bake cookies. Right? So while that was cute and lovely, and I really liked the phrase, it didn't help because it could be misinterpreted. So the wholesome guys interpreted it correctly, like, oh yeah, let's do things from our childhood that are cute that we enjoy. But then the unwholesome guys also interpreted it a different way. I want to come over and bake cookies with you. No, right? So don't put in things that could be misinterpreted. Words like cuddle. If you're a very affectionate person, yes, you will have lots of cuddles with your partner, but you do not want to put things like cuddles or snuggles or affection or whatever on your profile not because it's not true or you don't want it, but because there's half the population that are going to be attracted to that for the wrong reasons. Okay, so we save that for later. You save that for like when you are on the first date or second date or third date or whatever. Don't put things that may be true, but like, again, message, oh, this is what they're getting. So some people were like, you can put how many kids you have in the, when you go down the line in the in your bio, not the bio, your demographics, there's a place where you put that, but don't make that like part of like your about me. So I talked to a woman earlier this week, and she was like, she read me her profile, and I was like, don't lead with I'm a mom of three, because those three statements in your summary are like sort of the sum total of what you are. You want to make sure that when you're putting the sum total of what you are in 3 sentences, it's got to be what's going to call out to your guy. And she was like, well, I wanted them to know what they were getting into. I'm like, no, that just calls out to the guys who think that single moms are desperate and can be taken advantage of. And that's exactly what had been happening to her. Was she kept meeting these guys who would promise a commitment and then they wouldn't commit. And because she sounded like someone who was a nurturer, who was a caregiver and all of that, and that was what she was attracted. And she'd been in a couple of relationships like that. And I was like, don't lead with being a mom of 3. There's more to you than being a mom of 3, right? And so we kind of did a little bit of that work. Let's see, what else? I told you about specifics. Your photos, make sure your photos are not self-deprecating. Again, one of my clients this week had some self-deprecating photos. Like, I just want to be silly. Oh, little old me. I'm just like so relatable and so quirky. And anything that signals little old me, do not put on your profile. You do not need that there. Save that for the in-person interactions, which little old me, first of all, is not the energy we want to give. But if there is a part of you that's just really down to earth and low maintenance, yeah, let the guy see that when you're in person, but do not put anything low maintenance, because that just signals that you tolerate less than the best. Okay, so that does not belong on your profile. Let's see the kinds of photos you want to put in. One of my clients this week, what we ended up upgrading, we upgraded some her photos, like some travel photos at the theater, at a musical. I talked about the photo at the bookstore. Hang on, let me scroll through the new ones real quick. Oh dear Lord, my phone is doing its own thing. Yeah, and then we upgraded like just the quality of the picture. So there was a picture of her sitting at a restaurant with a drink, but the ambience was great, quality was great. We did that. Her looking like really well dressed up outside in nature. See, that actually messaged a little bit of like, I love flowers, I love nature, I'm not, high maintenance, but also she was still like all dressed up and looking good, right? So like there's a way you can do some of those things where it's not poor little me. You don't have to, I won't give you any trouble at all. We don't want to send that message out there. Okay. I think that's all I have on the profiles. And there's nothing that is too powerful for your profile. Right? So if you have some pictures that are really amazing, that really show you at your most powerful, at your very best self, put those on your profile. Don't dumb it down. Do not dumb yourself down, because you want a guy who can handle you at your low maintenance, middle of the road level, but who can also handle you at your most powerful level. Because you, especially all the women in my group, in the academy, you guys are powerful. You're not going to be at this level forever. You're going to be growing and changing and becoming more powerful. And you're in a transformational stage, and you're going to be transforming even more. You need a guy who can handle you at your most transformational and your most powerful level. Okay. Also, he's great for when you are dressed down, but he's also there for when you are all dressed up in your $1 million life. Okay. So if you do have some photos that you're like, oh, is that too much? They're not too much. Those are definitely, absolutely the photos you need to put on your profile. All right. That's it, I think, for today. Please ask me questions if I've missed anything, or if anything isn't clear about this. I really want to work with you guys this month. I want to troubleshoot this. Like literally, I have made my calendar available to be able to just really help you at that granular level on getting the 10 dates in 30 days. Okay, so I will see you all in the Facebook group, or I will see you on Wednesday. All right, bye.